Welcome back guys to another Kengan Omega video. Today we're talking about Kaneda and Kengan Omega, his past, his role, power and everything about it. If you enjoy these Kengan Omega videos, make sure to subscribe and join the Discord if you want to talk more about its greatness. Now I hope you enjoy. So he's also known as the Giant Killer, that's his nickname. Pretty good nickname up there. Didn't quite make my top 10, but I'll give him a solid top 12 nicknames in the series. And he was the affiliated fighter for Gintokuwa bookstore during the Kengan Annihilation tournament after stealing the spot from Himura after defeating him in a hallway. His current age in Omega may be shocking, but he's actually 29, so that's very shocking. He doesn't look very old, but he's actually 29, so almost 30 years old in Kengan Omega. His Kengan wins is 8 and Kengan losses is 5. It's not the best record, but solid 8 wins. Gotta respect that. From birth, Kaneda was a frail, sick boy who was constantly plagued by illness, almost dying many times throughout his life. By the time he started school, he had surgery 4 times to save his life from him dying. Prior to entering the Kengan Annihilation tournament, Kaneda's master, who taught him the Kyujin style, attempted to stop Kaneda from trying to enter the Annihilation tournament, as he thought he wouldn't survive and that an average person wouldn't be able to survive in a tournament like this. And this pretty much led him to have some type of hatred or the want to prove people wrong that he is capable of fighting and is capable of being part of this tournament. He showed that alone by taking out another team's representative, taking out Himura in a fight, but then he was defeated in round 1 against the almighty Gao Lang. Since the time of Kengan Ashura and Kengan Omega, he's grown closer to the person who he defeated, Himura, showing with him throughout Kengan Omega. So we haven't seen them very much, but the times we have seen them, it's shown that he was with Himura. He wasn't, or he isn't part of the Kengan vs Purgatory tournament, as it's noted that him and Cosmo have pretty much stated that they had tough fights or had scheduled tough fights before the tournament, so they'll most likely be injured and won't be able to compete. Sadly, we weren't able to see those fights. Maybe after the tournament we'll get a flashback to seeing those fights. Hopefully we do, but he's not fighting in the Team Kengan vs Purgatory tournament because of that. Now onto his power and abilities. So it's good to know he's probably the most physically weak character in all of the Kengan series, for the fighters at least, physically, but his main experience comes from not his martial arts, but his ability to show himself as a very capable competitor of using the Kyujin style, and his foresight as his most powerful and most advantageous weapon. He's considered completely average in terms of physical stats. In school, he was known as a terrible athlete and wasn't nowhere near the top of his class when it came to that. While training himself for 3 years, he was able to bench a total of 80 kilograms. Despite this, Kaneda has proven to be a pretty resilient, able to continue fighting without issue even after taking many direct blows to the face, having his ribs cracked and so on and pretty much getting pounded by Gao Lang's power, who's in my opinion a Fang level fighter. But his intelligence and mental ability is far above many of his opponents, which gives him advantages in that bar or makes up for his lack in physical factors. Now onto his foresight. So using his superhuman analytical prowess to study his opponent's movement in real time, Kaneda can slowly begin to predict his opponent's move as the fight continues, with more accuracy each time, or with more accuracy as the fight continues, as he gets to see those moves more. Kaneda is also able to correctly identify that Himura was a Jet Kunjo practitioner, having the ability to counter him with that knowledge after just seeing him for a short amount of time fight. When he fought Gao Lang, his strategy caused him to view the match as a shogi competition, which is considered one of the best in the Kenganverse. However, the drawbacks to his foresight is that it takes time for him to begin to understand and predict his opponents. He must withstand blows or barely dodge blows to begin and to understand and predict. So saying that he has to take some blows or be able to tank some blows to fully get his plan into attack, and this is where it failed him against Gao Lang, as Gao Lang was able to switch up his technique and finish the fight before Kaneda could fully complete his calculations and come up with a direct counter to Gao Lang. And now about his Kyujin style martial arts. So the Kyujin style is a Japanese or classical olden day Japanese martial arts that derives its roots from battlefield combat. As such, its hand-to-hand techniques assume that both combatants are wearing armor. The style replaces a heavy emphasis on taking down the opponent and finishing off quickly as possible. This is achieved by throwing the armored opponent off balance using trips and throws and delivering the killing blow with a weapon. This happens to help Kaneda in fights as he's mostly lighter than his opponent, so he has the training to take on heavier opponents or opponents with armor who are naturally have it. So this technique or his martial arts style is only mainly used to pretty much keep himself in the fights until he finds a perfect counter to his opponents to win. So he needs to be able to throw the opponent off, dodge attacks, be able to stay in the battle to pretty much keep the fight going, or he will lose if he fails to do so with this martial arts. So most likely, since the 2-year time skip, he's most likely his force type considered probably the same. Maybe he can calculate a little bit faster, but he's probably been working on his Kyujin style to be able to keep opponents away from him long enough to fully gather his information. Now to go over his name techniques, I might butcher most of his names. So we got Stance of Yin Yang Intersection, Crescent Scythe, Falling Bucket, Lever Throw, and Overturning Heaven and Earth. They're his name techniques that he's used thus far in the series. Hopefully you get to see him have a fight in Omega sometime. Probably after the Purgatory versus Kengan tournament, we might get to see a flashback of his fight that happened prior to that tournament, so that'll be cool. And same with Cosmo's fight as well. His Ashura debut was chapter 31. His Omega debut was chapter 6 and 8, where he got his full appearance in Omega. His anime debut is episode 8. And that's it for our boy Kaneda, the Giant Killer. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to subscribe and join the Discord. And if you haven't already, check out my Twitter. All the links are in the description. Now, that's it guys. Peace.